The Cincinnati Bengals are now 1-4, and if Joe Burrow doesn't play perfect, they're not going to win football games. He just had 5 passing touchdowns, yes, 1 interception late in the game, and they still lost against the Baltimore Ravens 41-38. I do have to say, for context here, it was a field goal attempt in overtime by the kicker. The holder messed up the snap. The next thing you know, the kicker misses the field goal. That's not on coaching, but I can tell you what is on coaching. The fact that the Bengals can't beat bad football teams in the early window of the brand new NFL season. And it's not just this season. It has been a reoccurring thing underneath Zach Taylor. Every single season, this team will start off slow. And I don't want to hear the excuses. Joe Burrow hurt his calf last season. That was a major excuse. The year before that, he had an appendix issue. He didn't play in the preseason. He was rusty. Stop making excuses for coaches that have great talent and can't find a way to win. Zach Taylor plays football like this. He plays not to lose. 9 times out of 10, when you play like that in any sport, especially in the NFL, you're not going to win the game. He is too conservative when he gets a lead. That's why they have blown a lot of leads since Zach Taylor has been a head coach. That's why they play down the competition since Zach Taylor has been a head coach. The only time that the Bengals will go out there and look perfectly fine is when Joe Burrow has an amazing game, and the same with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Great talent has hid his coaching flaws for many years, but eventually, when you're a below average head coach, it is going to show. Do you know how many times this man has been outcoached by Coach Harbaugh and Coach Tomlin in this division? This team lost to the New England Patriots in week 1, and I don't want to hear, well, T. Higgins wasn't playing. T. Higgins is a very good wide receiver. They don't need T. Higgins to win when you have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Ishi Vosh as well, who has been a very good number 3 wide receiver. They rarely run the football when they're up in the game, and they just take things short and underneath. You listen to what Joe Burrow had to say when they went against the Patriots in week 1. He said, I took what the defense gave me. That's the way that plays are being called. Short dump off routes to keep the game close. Zach Taylor is a horrible coach. I'm not giving up on the players with the Bengals. I'm giving up with the coaching staff. Their offense, if Joe Burrow doesn't go out there and he doesn't play phenomenal, they're not going to put up many points. And when I look at the running backs that they have, they're not bad. They don't need Joe Mixon. You have Chase Brown. Give him more carries. And the same with Zach Moss. Even when they had Joe Mixon, they will still force Joe Burrow to go out there and carry them over the hump, even with bad offensive line play. And it's more than just the offensive lows as well, because their offense is a top offense in the NFL. Their offense is not why they're losing football games. Their offense is not why they're 1-4. Their defense is. And I don't think that Coach Lou is a terrible defensive coordinator, but the lack of talent is starting to show. You have one pass rusher and Trey Hendrickson that can consistently get to the quarterback. Sam Hubbard has 0 sacks on the season. 0. And Trey Hendrickson has 3. So what have teams realized? They don't have defensive tackle presence like how they've had in the past. We'll chip and double team Trey Hendrickson. No one else can touch us. And now your secondary is already young. They're inexperienced enough. You're going to go back there and run play action. They've had one good defensive game this season. One. And that was against the Kansas City Chiefs. And it came down to defensive pass interference play that basically got the Chiefs over the hump to win that game by 3 points. They got ran over by the New England Patriots. The Carolina Panthers put up 24 points. If Joe Burrow doesn't go out there and have the day that he had, they don't win that game. I can tell you that right now. I also go back and I look at what happened against the Washington Commanders. The Commanders right now, they're red hot. They're a very good football team. No disrespect to Jaden Daniels. Right now, he's my rookie of the year. You guys know how I feel about him. There's no way that you let a rookie quarterback come into your house and light up your defense and Joe Burrow is put into that situation. It's a domino effect. And Coach Lou, he's trying to make adjustments. He is. He's calling different blitzes. He's calling disguised coverages. He's doing everything that he can to try to help these guys out, but nothing is working because they cannot put pressure on the quarterback and they can't stop the run. They got ran over by Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry today. And Lamar Jackson looked like prime Michael Vick today. outside the pocket. We know that Lamar Jackson is a 2-time MVP and there is no shame to losing to him. But it is shame when your quarterback has 5 passing touchdowns and you still lose the game. And before I really get into the defense, you look at what Zach Taylor did today. Joe Burrow had those 5 passing touchdowns. What did he do in overtime? Not 1, not 2, but 3 plays. 3, they continued to run the football over and over again. He took the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands and he put it into the running back's hands. It got him into field goal range, sure. But why not continue to just ride off the success with Joe Burrow? If you've done it in the past, part of the reason why you've had the success that you've had is because of Joe Burrow. That's it. Joe Burrow has saved this man's career year after year after year. He's not going to be able to save it this season. And I'm going to tell you why. You lost to the Ravens in your house. The next time you face the Ravens will be on the road. You have to face the Steelers twice this season and the Cleveland Browns. And you can laugh at the Cleveland Browns. They have always matched up very well for some odd reason since Zach Taylor has been the head coach with the Bengals. I wonder why. He's been outcoached by Coach Tomlin in the past. He's been outcoached by Coach Harbaugh in the past as well. Stop using injuries as an excuse to why they lose to bad football teams in the early window. They lose to bad football teams in the early window because they're not prepared and they're not disciplined. That's on coaching. And the penalties as well. He is not a good head coach, and he hasn't been for a very long time. I understand that he made the Super Bowl, him and Joe Burrow. We cannot continue to bring that up because if that's the case, no coach would ever be fired that has went to a Super Bowl, especially the ones that have won Super Bowls before. Zach Taylor is riding off of that success of the past. What have you done lately? And I understand Joe Burrow has dealt with injuries. His season was cut short last season due to a wrist injury. They should have set down Joe Burrow last season if he was not fully healthy with a calf injury. In the year before that, they always come up short. Every single time. The only time that Zach Taylor looks like a top coach in the NFL is when they play against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's it. They're always in close football games against bad teams. And I'm not going to write the Bengals off because they can go out there and they can flip their season completely around. But how many times are you going to put your star quarterback in this situation? It is already hard to win football games in the NFL. You want him to go out there and win 5 to 6 games in a row to just be in a shot to make the wild card? That's not sustainable for every single season. It's almost impossible. That's why it is so essential and so important to go out there and beat up on teams like the New England Patriots, to go out there and make a statement week 1 and not go down 0-3 like how you did this year, not go down to being 1-4. So now your quarterback has to go out there and win 3 games in a row to basically get your team to be 500. And at that point, the division may be crazy. It may be too hard for you to go out there and have a fighting chance to make the NFL playoffs. We're still early in the season, but this has been the same song and dance with Zach Taylor every single year. He'll come out, they'll lose a close football game, or they'll lose in the early window, and you'll say, you know what, it's so many games left to play. How many times can we say this? How many times can he go out there and continue to get away with this? And I don't want to hear that the Bengals, they let Marvin go out there and coach for many years and he had little to no playoff success. That's a different time in the NFL. No disrespect to Andy Dalton. No disrespect to AJ Green. This is Joe Burrow, a man that has went to a Super Bowl, was the most sacked quarterback in playoff history on that run. And they almost won that game against the Rams. He has shown you over and over again that he can get you over the hump. But this season feels different because the defensive talent is not there. And the offensive consistency isn't there either. Because this coach right here will take the ball out of Joe Burrow's hand and he will put it in Chase Brown's hand. And Chase Brown is not a bad running back at all. But I will say this. What's the point of running the football when you're down? You didn't run it when you were up. This is the one team that I look at. When they're supposed to run the football, they don't. And when it's the worst time to run the football, that's when they'll run the football. It makes 0 sense. And back to the defense. The defensive tackles aren't good enough. So this is going to be something that they're going to struggle with over the course of this season. Unless the defensive tackle play goes out there and they just get astronomically better. But I don't see that happening. The linebackers that they have, I think they're solid. I like Logan Wilson a lot. He's a very good tackler. Jermaine Pratt is very good in his own right. These are good players that have had some good seasons in the past. So far, Geno Stone has done nothing. The man had 7 interceptions last season. He's done nothing. He has 1 pass deflection. Just 1. He was a playmaking safety last year. He hasn't done anything this season. They can't sack the quarterback. They can't pressure the quarterback. They can't stop the run. They can't run press coverage. Cam Taylor-Britt had a very good play against the Kansas City Chiefs. And for a player that talks so much, he knows that he could go out there and give up a lot of big plays like how he did to Terry McLaurin and how he did in the Kansas City Chiefs game as well. He'll come out and he'll say a lot of stuff, but he doesn't back it up on a week-to-week basis. And I don't think that he's a bad football player. But I know Bengal fans, they're sick and tired of hearing the same stuff from Zach Taylor. We'll be better next week. No, you won't. Joe Burrow has to be perfect, because if he's not perfect, you're not going to win the game. But let me know in the comment section below. Should the Bengals move on from Zach Taylor, or is this just a player issue with the Bengals as a whole? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.